The D.C. area is known for its iconic and funny comedians, and Sylvia Trey Moore Morrison, impressionist and comedian, is not exempt from that list.
Well, growing up in Washington, D.C. was really, really unique in that, living 12 blocks from the White House, you would think that that would bring all kinds of images of being in a wealthy neighborhood, and it really wasn't. At that time, when I was just a kid, it was the absolute ghetto. But a group from D.C. came through, which included Marion Barry and Catfish Mayfield. They came in and kind of cleaned up the area. As a young kid, I realized I loved the stage early, just early. I wanted to do stuff on stage. I started watching television a lot because there was this one guy, Ed Sullivan, who was kind of like the Oprah Winfrey of his day, and I could imitate him. But not only him, I could imitate most of my friends' parents. I could imitate my teachers, the principal, and they just couldn't understand how a little kid could do that. And they would always say, do so-and-so, so-and-so, and they would laugh. And I didn't realize that it was funny. I thought they just liked it.
Well, let me just say this. Let me just say this because I've been in the business for a long time. I have. And I'm just hearing about Sylvia, okay? But my friend, who's also an ex-host, is Wendy Williams. Let her tell you about Sylvia, too. Wendy, come here.
Oh my God, how you doing? Okay, get this. I'd never heard of a Sylvia Trey Moore Morrison until Whoopi, kept saying, you got to see this girl. She does all these impressions, and she does you too, And I'm like, okay, so there.
I realized that I wanted to make this a career when I saw the Flip Wilson show, and he had these young black women come on his show, and they announced that they were members of the Miss Black America contest. Flip Wilson asked them, well, what do you have to do in order to be in the pageant? And she said, well, you need to have talent. I screamed right then and there. I said, I got it. He said, you need to be able to, answer questions and also wear a swimsuit. So I thought, now I'm okay with the talent part and I can answer the question, but oh my God, the bathing suits. I said, well, I'm just gonna have to do that. At 99 pounds at that time, I just did not care. I wanted to be on national TV, and that was going to happen. And the next thing I know, I'm in the competition. And I always love telling this part. I tied for first place with a girl by the name of Bernadette Stannis. You would probably know as Thelma from Good Times. And it's amazing because that night we were in the pageant, she got the card to go and audition for Good Times. And they sent me to Europe to entertain the American troops from the Vietnam War. The Vietnam War, American troops, thousands of them, thousands and thousands of them. And there I was over in Europe with all these men and women in uniform. And I was just barely out of Washington, D.C. When I got back to the States, sure enough, this guy had tickets for me to come out to L.A., and that guy was Red Fox. And at the time, I didn't even realize how big that was. That was huge, come on, Red Fox, really? But my dad got sick, so I had to come back to the East Coast, and instead of going back to California, I moved to New York, because my mother, I didn't want her by herself. And while I'm in New York, I found another comedy club called Catch a Rising Star. And the host of that comedy club was a guy by the name of Jerry Seinfeld. So I'm in New York, and I'm looking at the newspaper one day, and it said they were having a roast of Muhammad Ali. And I had to read it twice, because I'm like, wait a minute, Muhammad Ali is coming here to New York? They're roasting him at the Apollo Theater? Oh, I gotta be there. The day of the roast, I got a call from one of the girls that went to Europe with me, and she said, Sylvia, Richard Pryor can't make it. And Dick Gregory was going all over his head and everything because he didn't know who to get to replace Richard Pryor because nobody was available. And she said, I told him about you, and he said, bring her in. Oh my God, I was going to the Muhammad Ali roast. Not just going, I was gonna host this roast that was worldwide. I mean, it was
It was Muhammad Ali. He was 37 years old, the prime of his career, and everybody was going to be there. And then you had little old me, who nobody knew, trying to figure out who is this that they got to host the roast, and I'm replacing Richard Pryor. So at the end of the roast, a guy by the name of Garrett Morris from Saturday Night Live came to me and said, "You got to meet my boss, Lorne Michaels," who at that time was the executive producer of Saturday Night Live. And sure enough, Garrett took me over to NBC. We went into Mr. Michaels' office, we sat down, and he offered me a job as an associate writer for Saturday Night Live. I was like, nah, this is nuts. So I reverted back to my little 5-year-old, 10-year-old dreams and thought, I'm working as an associate writer for Saturday Night Live. The average person would tell you, no way would I have continued on this. No way. But here I am.